Yeah. Now, I will say that I do agree with you that Trump isn't my favorite president out of all of the presidents. Who's your favorite president? Out of your
I don't know, probably my lifetime. Well, in my lifetime I've only had Bill Clinton, who was like one of the
very tough on crime.
Yeah, the tough on crime president, and plus he kind of took the Democratic Party and pretty much turned them into neolibs. Then there was George Bush, and we all know the disaster that he was. And also, I think that Bill Clinton was also the president that signed away the regulations on the banking industry that helped facilitate the 2008 housing crisis.
Yes, I believe so. I think.
So yeah, that was a pretty big fuck up on one of our Democratic presidents. We had George Bush, which took us to Iraq.
Wait, have you guys seen Vice, by the way? Just curious, speaking of Bush Cheney.
Is it a movie?
Vice is a movie with, oh my God, Christian Bale. He plays Dick Cheney. It's amazing. It's such a good movie, but it basically reveals that Cheney was 100% in control of that administration. Bush was just like a puppet. It's a really good movie, and I highly recommend it.
Okay.
I would disagree with that. I think Bush was partly in control.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm bad at interrupting people. Go ahead.
Well, when it comes to Bush, I think he was slightly in control. Dick Cheney obviously played a big part in the war on terror. I beg your pardon. But I think it was 50-50 personally. I think George Bush was 54, I want to say, when he got in. Yeah, it was 46. It was 54 when he entered office. That's not really the time you get senile or have dementia or something along those lines. It's roughly around 75. That's when I've noticed.
It had nothing to do with like age or anything. Dick Cheney just was more senior, and he was more in control of like foreign policy, energy. Like Dick Cheney he had a lot of control of the administration, according to like this movie, which is based on a lot of books on Dick Cheney. Did you guys ever watch The Big Short, which is also about the 2008 housing crisis?
I haven't, but I've been wanting to. I actually own it. Wait, so were you a Bernie Sanders supporter in 2016?
So I was an anyone but Hillary supporter, and I did donate to Bernie Sanders because I wanted him to. I don't know if I would have supported Bernie Sanders. This was before Trump. So this was before Trump was nominated. I was living in Germany at the time, and I kind of saw it coming. I was like, oh my God, she's going to somehow figure out a way to fuck over Bernie Sanders, which she did. They stole the election, which is why I think it's super ironic that people think that they wouldn't possibly steal a presidential election. But anyways, so then when it was Trump versus Hillary, I was like, I got to go Trump. So I was a never Hillary person. But then I ultimately did end up like, I would say my favorite president in my lifetime has been Trump.
Okay.
Which I know is so crazy because the country is so divided. And I think it's out of a freaking movie that we're as divided as we are. But the whole MO of like these global elitists is to divide and conquer. Like the fact that they're proposing lockdowns and the fact that doesn't like frighten people a little bit, like what that will do to the economy, and the fact that people are going to be suffering more, and the fact that they want to defund the police and crime is going to go up and there's going to be no one to call. Like LAPD has already said that they're not answering certain calls. Like if you get into a car accident in LA, you can't call the police. You have to file a report online. So it's stuff like that that's going to start taking place, and it feels like anarchy is coming, and that they're going to have to take over control of the people through like a police state. That's my prediction for like the next couple of years. But I could be way off, and I could be a conspiracy theorist, but that's just kind of like, I feel like history is repeating itself right now. And I do see why the left looks at Trump as like Hitler and why they think he's fascist and all this other stuff, because the Nazis, they rose to power because they were horrified of socialism and communism coming to the country. And so that's kind of how Hitler got his popularity over time. He was rejected over and over and over again until, there was some election where he gained like 36% of the vote in Germany. And then he formed an alliance with, or the Conservative Party at the time brought Hitler on as chancellor. And then the party like really came together, and then Nazism like took over due to the threat of socialism and these people being terrified of communism. And so I can see like why there's two sides of the coin right now, because people on the right are horrified that socialism and Marxism is just like, it's already here.
Conservative white lady, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first I'm going to tell a story, and then I'm going to ask you a question. 2016, I was extremely butthurt that Bernie Sanders lost the election. I was the primary. I was feeling that he was cheated, just like you just said, and I was feeling that maybe I don't want to support the Democratic Party if they're going to cheat in the primaries. So I voted for Jill Stein, thinking that there's no way that Donald Trump is going to be much worse than Hillary Clinton. That was my thought process. Then something happened that changed my mind. Something happened that made me regret that Hillary Clinton lost the election. Because when she lost the first time, I was happy that Hillary Clinton lost, but I was sad that Trump won. Like that was my feelings. But now I'm actually sad that Hillary Clinton lost because Trump won. And that was the separating of children at the border. What is your opinion on that?
So I can send you a link to a video of Biden when he was vice president. I think what goes on in Mexico is horrifying. I think that these coyotes who basically like run guns and everything, across the border, and they offer these desperate women an opportunity to like take their babies and go have a better life. So that's a different story. What you're talking about is people getting separated at the border. What I'm talking about are coyotes who run children to the border and claim that they're going to, give these babies a better life or whatever. And who knows what happens to the kids. Anyways, Mexico, like, I don't know what all goes on in Mexico. The cartel and everything like that. I've been to Mexico once, and I was on whatever the resort, and it was for a wedding, and everyone was like, don't leave the resort. And so, I don't really know what goes on in Mexico. I'm not going to pretend that I do, but I do feel like there are human rights issues that are horrifying, like hearing about the people who are so desperate that they would surrender their babies for, giving their babies a better life. Like, that is so scary and terrifying and heartbreaking. But, Biden, they've deported way more people. And big media is like in on it. If you look at like Reuters and some of those companies, like they surrender data to the American government with the purpose of deporting people who are here illegally. So it's not like it's one side or the other. They're all doing it. And, I don't really know the details of everything that has happened at the border. I know that the Obama administration was not much different than it is now. And I don't know, that one's a tough one because I want what's best for like good people. I think criminals should be prosecuted. But it's a tough call, like when it comes to human rights and who should be here and who shouldn't be here and stuff like that. Like when I hear about babies being sent back into whatever those situations are, like I feel like, oh my God, bring them to me. I'll freaking take care of them. Like I'll give them a better life. My compassionate side feels terrible about the fact that the world is a really fucked up place. And there's a lot of people suffering. So it sucks. And that's the thing about life is like, you can't save everybody, even though I wish we could. Like, I think everyone wishes we could all just live happily ever after, right? Like, that's what I think we all want. And that's what I think most humans want. I think the people in power are fucking psychopaths. And I'm kind of like, I view all of them as like being these warmongering criminals who want power. They're obsessed with power. They want to control people. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about human life. Like, just look at California right now. California is dealing with insane public health crises, like, across the state because of their progressive policy. And it's just crazy. Like, people pay out of the wazoo in property tax to live amongst filth right now, and you won't hear about it. But if you look at Instagram, like, there's accounts kind of dedicated to revealing how disgusting California is, like, on the streets. That kind of opened my eyes a little bit, I will say.
Wait, are you talking about the homeless thing?
For sure, yeah. The drug addiction and the homelessness that's like rampant in California right now. It's creating like public health crises across the state in these big cities. And people are fleeing. Anyone with resources and money is leaving California right now. And so the question is, okay, well, how do you fund anything if the people who are generating tax revenue are leaving?
Okay, so my question to you would be, well, now we're on a different topic.
Oh, sorry.
So let's go back to the separating of children at the border. Over 1,000 children were separated from their families. These weren't coyotes. Maybe some of them were coyotes, but I don't think that the coyotes, the people who weren't with their parents, are getting counted in that number, because that's not the egregious part about this policy. It was a separating of children of just families that were coming over. What do you think about that?
So, I didn't really follow it. Some of those stories get really depressing for me, and I can't really, I have to like unplug sometimes, like those ones in particular. So I don't really know like the nature of why they were getting separated or like who went where. Like, I remember seeing pictures of like people kind of stuck at the border in really kind of disgusting conditions,
Okay, go ahead.
If you can tell me more about like who went where, like were the kids staying and the people going back, or?
Yeah. If I take a switch?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, SJP.
Okay. Well, if you are going to, let's talk about Hillary Clinton and in my opinion, what she would do with the border. Let's talk about that second. But when it comes to kids in cages, now, do I think it's morally wrong? Yes. Do I think... I see both sides of the coin. On one hand, if we keep the children with the parents, what's it called? Well, here, I'm assuming you live in the United States.
Yes.
But if we were to keep in the United States, when you arrest an adult for, let's name anything, murder, sexual assault, rape, etc., we separate the kid and the parent. We do not bring the kid with the parent to jail. We do not do that.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that the crime of crossing the border illegally is the same as murder or rape or whatever?
Well, morally, no, but it's still a crime.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If I break into your house, is it the same as rape morally?
No, but if you speed, that's also a crime too, right?
Well, are you talking about speaking? Like, did you say speaking? Sorry, my friend's not the best.
Speeding, going faster than the speed limit.
Well, yeah, speeding. It's still a crime.
It's a crime.
Yeah, just like jumping the border, just like rape, just like murder, etc.
So do you think that jumping the border is worth taking the kids away? Do you think that crime is on a high enough level? Because we've established that crimes are on a spectrum. Do you think that jumping the border is a high enough level in the spectrum to justify taking your kids away?
It depends on the person. It depends on the parents. I think I see it as a case by case system. I mean, if you have a what's it called? If you have let's say a murderer and he brings his kids over, do I think we should separate the kids? Yes. If it is a hardworking person who knows English, who will be able to work, I don't think we should separate the kids. I think I think we should deport them, and they should be they should be forced, if they want to immigrate to the United States, to go through the legal immigration system, just like my parents did when they came to Canada.
So let me tell you something about the American immigration system. Did you know that in some cases there is a 20-year wait to become an American citizen from other countries?
But that's kind of true of all countries. Like, there's not really a lot of countries you can go to and be like, all right, I live here and I'm a citizen now.
I'm not
different than other countries.
Yeah, well, just because it's not different, that doesn't mean that it's not bad.
But when you open your borders like that, like, okay, everyone says, oh, Trump has a ban on Muslims. He basically stopped traffic into the U.S. from these places that are like radical hotspots. And you can look online. There's women with girls in jihadist schools. I forget what country, but they're training. No, I want to say it's starts with an F. No, it's not Sudan, but it's I'll look it up. But anyways, they're literally training people who don't believe in Muhammad or whatever to behead them. And you can see, it's like well documented. You can see them training them to decapitate, how to decapitate, all of that. So there are people who are not, I would say, not a good idea to allow open borders for. Like, I do think we need to be aware of who hates us and who our enemies are. Now, I don't think that Mexicans are our enemies. I think there are like decent people who are in really shitty situations that we should allow here, obviously. Now, do I believe that they should be free to come here illegally? I have no problem with Mexicans. I think they're fine people. I think they have good, in most cases, they have good morals and good standards. I'm not referring to like the cartel people, but it's just a tricky topic. It really is. And society needs standards to function is really what I would say.
Go ahead.
I want to interject. So on the other side of the coin, I think I understand both sides of the coin. I understand the separate the kids from the family situation, but I also see the keep the family together situation. I see the keep the family together situation, because if you separate the family and deport the parents, the children are just going to have to go in the foster system. And even if you dropped them off in Mexico, the cartel might pick them up. I mean, Mexicans as a people are great, love their morals. I have lots of Mexican friends, but there are cartels in Mexico that will take children, put them into prostitution or sex slavery or something along those lines.
Okay. So how is this for a proposal? I'm going to propose a prescription to this problem. And I want to know what y'all's opinions on this would be.
Okay.
What if, because we have a long wait for people who just want to come to this country, become citizens, work for a living, and create a better life for their family. We all agree we want those people in our country, right?
Yes.
So what if we streamline the process to becoming an American citizen? Find ways, and I don't know what ways you would do it, but find ways to make it to where the wait is a lot less so that people don't feel like they have to come in here illegally.
Oh yeah, I fully agree with that. I think we should loosen up our immigration system, but I do think we should have better secure borders. I think that if a hardworking, black person, white, Asian, Hispanic, heck, even American Indian from Canada, I think they should be able to come to the United States. And if they're hardworking and they want to work and they won't be a burden on the American taxpayer, they should be able to come in here as quickly as possible. Now, should it take 20 years? No. Should it take like three weeks? No. Should it take a year? I wouldn't mind it taking a year.
I think a year would be not unreasonable. And keep in mind, when I said 20 years, that was the extreme. So for some people it's 6 years. For some people it's 10. It just really depends on which how you're trying to get in. What about you, conservative white lady? Would you agree with a system that's like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I work in tech, and I've worked in tech my whole career, so I've been surrounded by diversity. Most software engineers are Indians, or Asian. I will say one underrepresented group in corporate America is African Americans, which I think is insane to me. So, anyways, I totally think that it shouldn't be a super bureaucratic process to become a citizen. And I do think that there are wonderful people who want wonderful opportunity and prosperity, and they want to work hard. So they should be absolutely welcomed here, and it shouldn't be hard for them to establish citizenship. But I do feel like we need borders for sure, and we need security, and we need to have like a filtration process of some sort to just kind of keep people out who are violent or whatever, or hate America.
So let me make a fact statement about my side of the aisle. I don't know of any serious lefty politician who is for fully open borders. And Joe Biden, I don't support Joe Biden, but in his last debate against Donald Trump, what I just laid out for you was his immigration policy.
For me, it's not solely based on immigration policy. I look at what's it called?
Of course, you're not going to be a one-issue voter. There's many other reasons why you would vote for one candidate over another. I wouldn't expect you guys to hear that and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to vote for, I'm going to support Joe." Of course not. That would be ridiculous. I just common ground. That's what we're looking for here, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. So
yeah, I would say, like, as far as immigration policy, I gave you my opinion. I think we need borders and all of that, but I agree. It's like it's not one of my top issues at all.
Yeah. Okay.